He left WWE. He conquered the world. He built an empire elsewhere. And then on a completely ordinary Monday night, John Moxley walked back through that curtain, grabbed a microphone, looked Seth Rollins dead in the eyes, and said the words that broke the internet in half. It was you, Seth Rollins. You were the mystery attacker. And the man who exposed you just made the most shocking return in WWE 2026. Suplex Rumble Nation, we need to talk about all of it. Right now. What is up, Suplex Rumble Nation? I am your host and I am going to be completely real with you before we go a single second further. I have been doing this channel for a long time. I have covered shocking moments, jaw-dropping returns, and reality-shattering revelations. But what happened on Raw this week combined all of those categories simultaneously into one single segment that I genuinely believe belongs in the conversation of the most significant Monday Night Raw moments of the modern era. John Moxley, back in WWE, exposing Seth Rollins as the mystery attacker who has been tormenting the Raw roster for weeks. Two generational forces, one earth-shattering confrontation, and a revelation that recontextualizes every single mysterious attack we have witnessed since this storyline began. Subscribe if you are new, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment right now. Did you suspect Seth Rollins? Because I want to know exactly how sharp Suplex Rumble Nation truly is. Let's go all the way in. Before we get to the confrontation, before we unpack the exposure, before we process the full seismic implications of what Seth Rollins being revealed as the mystery attacker means for Monday Night Raw, we need to properly honor the man who walked back into WWE and detonated this bomb. John Moxley. There is no performer in professional wrestling today on any roster, in any promotion, on any continent who carries the specific, uncontainable, raw energy that John Moxley brings into any room he enters. This is not a performer who exists within the conventional boundaries of professional wrestling character presentation. John Moxley has spent his entire career operating outside those boundaries, sometimes by choice, sometimes by necessity, always with the specific authenticity of someone who has never been willing to be anything other than exactly who he is. His journey since leaving WWE the first time created one of the most compelling career narratives in modern professional wrestling. The championships, the iconic matches across multiple promotions, the personal battles fought and won with a transparency and honesty that earned him a depth of fan loyalty that transcends promotion loyalty entirely. John Moxley fans are John Moxley fans regardless of what logo appears on the screen behind him, and that is precisely what makes his return to WWE so extraordinarily significant, because he brings all of that history with him. Every championship, every war, every personal triumph, every moment of brutal, uncompromising professional wrestling excellence achieved outside the WWE walls. All of it walks through that curtain with him and fills the arena with an energy that is completely unique to this one specific performer. The WWE Universe has never stopped wanting John Moxley back. And when he returned on Raw, not for a cameo, not for a one-off appearance, but with a specific purpose and a specific target, the crowd's reaction was the sound of years of wanting finally being answered. To fully appreciate the magnitude of Seth Rollins being exposed as the mystery attacker, we need to honor the full journey of this storyline, because the revelation's impact is directly proportional to the investment that was built over the weeks preceding it. The mystery attacker story had gripped Monday Night Raw with a consistency and intensity that the show's best long-form storylines always achieve. Week after week, the attacks continued. Roster members were targeted with calculated precision. The identity remained protected behind layers of misdirection that kept every theory alive and no single suspect definitively confirmed. The WWE Universe played detective with passionate dedication. Names were cycled through the suspect pool with the specific urgency of fans who genuinely needed the answer. Authority figures investigated. Fellow roster members speculated. And through all of it, Seth Rollins walked Raw as the visionary, the master of perception management, the performer whose in-ring and character brilliance has always been inseparable from his capacity for spectacular, theatrical deception. In retrospect, and this is where the storytelling reveals its true craftsmanship, the clues pointing towards Seth Rollins were always present. The timing of his absences relative to the attacks, the specific targets chosen, each one connected to Seth's history in ways that only become visible when you know where to look. The almost theatrical innocence of his public reactions to each attack, slightly too emphatic, slightly too performed to be entirely genuine. But Seth Rollins is the visionary precisely because he sees things before others do, including the importance of managing how others perceive him. He had the entire roster, the entire authority structure, and the entire WWE Universe looking everywhere except directly at him, until John Moxley came back and looked exactly where everyone else had refused to look. The mechanics of John Moxley's return deserve detailed examination, because how a performer comes back tells you everything about what the return is designed to accomplish. Moxley did not return with a produced entrance package. He did not return through a carefully orchestrated backstage vignette building for weeks. He did not return as a surprise guest for a feel-good nostalgia moment designed to pop a crowd and then dissolve without consequence. John Moxley returned the way John Moxley does everything on his own terms, with his own energy, directed at a specific target with a specific purpose. The moment his music hit the moment that first note landed in that arena, the crowd's reaction was instantaneous and total. Because there are certain sounds in professional wrestling that bypass the analytical brain entirely and connect directly to the emotional center. Sounds that produce a physical response before conscious processing catches up. John Moxley's entrance music is one of those sounds for a generation of wrestling fans who have followed his career across every chapter of it. He came through that curtain and the arena transformed. The energy shifted in the specific way it only shifts when someone with genuine, earned, unimpeachable credibility steps onto that stage. Not the credibility of a character. The credibility of a career. The credibility of someone who has bled, sacrificed, and delivered in every environment professional wrestling offers, and carries all of that proof of excellence in the way he walks, the way he holds himself, the way he looks at the ring like it is the most natural place on earth for him to be. He walked directly to the ring. No stops. No crowd interaction. No theatrical delay. He had something to say and he was going to say it, and the entire arena sensed the urgency of that mission in his stride. The microphone went up. And John Moxley spoke. The moment John Moxley exposed Seth Rollins as the mystery attacker was constructed with the specific, devastating simplicity that the most impactful wrestling revelations always employ. No lengthy preamble. No extended evidence presentation designed to build courtroom-style suspense. Moxley has never been a performer who wraps his truth in unnecessary packaging. He delivered the accusation with the blunt, direct, unambiguous force of someone who has no interest in theatrical presentation when the truth itself is theatrical enough. He said the name. He pointed at the stage. And Seth Rollins, who appeared moments later, because the visionary never runs from a confrontation he has prepared for, stepped out to face the man who had just burned his carefully constructed cover to the ground. What followed was one of the most electrically charged face-to-face confrontations Raw has produced in recent memory. Two performers at the absolute peak of their abilities, one armed with righteous, uncontainable fury, the other with the cold, calculating composure of someone who has already thought 10 moves ahead of this exact moment, standing in the same space and producing the kind of genuine dramatic tension that professional wrestling can create when it is operating at its ceiling. Seth Rollins' response to the exposure was, and I cannot stress this enough, a masterclass in heel character performance. He did not deny with the panicked energy of someone caught unexpectedly. He did not collapse under the weight of exposure. He responded with the measured, almost amused confidence of someone who was never truly afraid of being caught, because being caught was always part of the plan. The smile. The specific, knowing, infuriating smile that Seth Rollins produces when he wants to communicate that he is operating at a level of strategic sophistication that his accuser cannot fully comprehend. That smile told the entire story of Seth Rollins as the mystery attacker more completely than any confession could have. And John Moxley's reaction to that smile, the specific, barely contained fury of a man whose worst suspicions have just been confirmed with casual arrogance, set up what is now the most personal, most emotionally loaded feud on Monday Night Raw. Let's step back and honor this from a pure professional wrestling narrative perspective, because Seth Rollins as the mystery attacker is not just a good reveal, it is the right reveal. And the difference between those two categories is